Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard and today I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley.
And
Will.
we are in March of 2021 and so far there's not been a lot going on as far as gaming goes, but we have had a bit of news trickling through. The first thing I think we want to probably mention is there's been a bit of movement on the next-gen PlayStation VR front.
Oh, who would have predicted that?
No, I don't know. Someone mentioned it a few times.
Willa Demas over there. Yeah.
To be fair, I saw it coming in. I thought it was going to be in the state of plays. I thought it was going to be the big one at the same time.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I think that was probably originally the plan. But the fact is, it's there, it's a thing, it's visible, and the controllers look pretty wicked.
Yeah, because there was the news. It was on the 23rd of Feb, and then it was kind of like about just two weeks later or so. They actually released pictures of these new VR controllers, which are actually the first VR controllers Sony has ever made.
Yep.
The move was very much
and they look
repurposed.
to the most successful VR controllers at the moment as well for guidance.
I think, they're not the only ones. Oculus and Valve have both been kind of ping-ponging their concepts between each other. You know, there seems to be an established way of doing this now. Yeah. But what they had before for PlayStation VR currently is just the Move controllers, which were just motion controllers. They don't really deal with all the axes or all your appendages. They were kind of a
and how many appendages do you have that you would use it? No, actually, not. No, let's not talk about your appendages in VR and what you would use them for.
Well, long story short, it's the death of the magic ice creams, isn't it?
Yes, the magic ice creams will be no more.
Hopefully so. The main thing really is having that one-to-one sort of hand motion, because you can, you get that, you can grip things, you can point at things, you need your digits to press buttons in VR and stuff. So, and having your thumbsticks on top as well to be able to teleport around, which seems to be a fairly widely adopted means of traversal. It's quite interesting. I thought when they first announced this, I was like, oh, here we go, all right, it's just like some patent story or something. But it seems very clear, like, having released actual pictures now, I think we could be looking at next Christmas. I
predict this will be the big sold-out thing this Christmas coming. Christmas 2021.
When's Resident Evil Village coming out? I haven't actually looked, and normally I would have.
That was another
because
thing,
obviously
wasn't it?
Resident Evil 7 was VR. It was the big VR Resident Evil game, and Village is 8, so...
Yeah, whether it remains VR or at least has a VR element to it, I don't know.
There might be
I've
a
not
VR
been following
edition
it that much.
Because they've been very quiet about this, haven't they?
It's out in May, 7th of May.
So it's not unreasonable that it would come with a VR version of Resident Evil Village. Because I can see that being a bundle, considering how well received 7 was.
It's saying that it says that it is going to have VR. But that would just be the existing.
But surely there must have been an allowance
VR
because they
systems.
knew that the upgraded kit was coming. It's like Will said, they just kept quiet about it.
Yeah. It's not been confirmed either way, as far as I can tell.
Okay. So another one to watch this space.
I've seen a number of articles, some saying it appears support for VR is dead, saying no VR announcement, but that doesn't actually mean... What it means is there's a release date. What it also means is that VR could follow as a day 2 patch or whatever. It's
exactly.
Because nothing has been... It's not been confirmed that it won't have it. It's not been confirmed that it will have it, so it will. Wouldn't be surprised. I heard the VR was really successful, so
yeah, it was.
We will see.
Yeah, there's been a few leaks and rumours, so that means to the VR press that it's confirmed.
It was successful enough that the character Ethan is the main one in this follow-up game. So that was more than just a dip into VR style Resident Evil and then kind of thrown away. You know?
What? So you're saying because it's got the same character?
Well,
it's
more than that. It's more than that. It's more because you've got these remake ones, which are the third-person one, and then you've got these Resident Evil first-person ones, and it seems like there's two, not arcs, but two distinct game franchise styles of Resident Evil going ahead. So you'll have probably 7, 8, and 9, and then you'll have all of the sort of remake, reboot versions and stuff that'll be done separately. So I think that they're putting this spin on this style. So I realistically think we will see a VR version. I think there's probably enough in there, so it won't be day one, but there will be some allowance in the code or something, because they would know this is coming. Because it's...
Doesn't matter to me. I won't ever play it.
You'll love it, Rob. You'll absolutely love it. You'll love it.
No, I won't.
You'll love it.
I won't.
18-foot tall random vampire woman with Wolverine's hand. You'll love it.
I will never play VR horror. Alien Isolation or something. I don't know if they ever did that in VR, but that sounds
they did.
The worst.
There was a version of it.
I thought we discussed it. That sounds
or
like
as they
hell.
call it, anxiety isolation.
Half-Life Alyx was bad enough.
Sorry, what was that?
Half-Life Alyx was bad enough, and that wasn't a like complete horror game. There were horror elements to it and horror sections. But this seems... I'm not going to play a game that is just full out.
I'll tell you what I would like to play in VR. I think this is very much wishful thinking. But I don't know if you guys ever remember a PC game called Black and White. It was kind of a God mode game.
Oh, yeah.
Where
you've got a creature and you choose.
That's it. So you're looking down from on high and you'd reach down on the map and pick up your creature and you would stroke it or pick it up and place it and you would use your powers to pick things up. And talking about this controller where you've got the proper... digital moving capabilities. I can quite imagine using VR to play this whole God thing. I think that would be really cool and probably not motion sicky.
Yeah, I mean there are a few games. I've not played any, but there are ones that like let you where you are like the disembodied camera, over a sort of strategy type battlefield. There's a few of those around. I've not played anything like that. But yeah, they do exist, and all kinds of things like that.
Would be cool. I think SimCity would be a cool one as well.
Yeah,
because you would definitely feel like a deity.
Yeah,
especially the last SimCity where you actually crafted it from the land, so you built it from the island up and everything.
Yeah, once again, it's that whole God mode.
Yeah.
Sadly, the PlayStation 5, the second generation Sony VR headset is said to be it will have at least one cable,
which is still better than I think it was. But yeah, I mean, full wireless. I think they'd just be pushing the price and the technological requirements above what might be as consumer friendly as is needed on the consoles.
Yeah,
I think it's a massive bummer though because I've only got a single cable hooking on my Oculus, and it's so annoying. Like. When you're doing room scale VR and you're like you have tripping yourself over or having to stand in a certain spot.
I kind of get it. Can you get a transmitter and receiver? I mean, does it plug into like a straight HDMI type setup? At which point, can you use an HDMI sender receiver? All of that type stuff. Can you make it wireless?
Maybe. I know Oculus Quest you can connect over Wi-Fi. So, mate, I don't know.
It's all about lag and reflex and all of that good stuff, isn't it? But it's an interesting one. Yeah, but cost. Yeah, absolutely. Cost, portability, all sorts of elements are key. I mean, it would be brilliant to just have something it's kind of like a pair of sunglasses that you put on and that does it all. One day it'll be there, but right now, we're still wired. I will admit.
I just thought we might be... I thought we might have got there,
I think we may see one. I think we may see one wireless in the near future, but the PSVR 2 isn't there yet. We may see PSVR 2 Pro come out in a couple of years' time.
Who knows?
So we will
This could be another one of those ones where Rob gets up and looks off and we hear it and wonder what happened.
No, I'm just getting a beer. It's only there.
Yeah.
My fridge is right there. I'm just getting a beer.
I will bite though. I will bite
Right.
on the PSVR.
Okay.
I think so. I had to cancel my PS5 order, and I must admit I'm quite happy with my PC. The paucity of new console games coming out, which I think we'll maybe move on to in a moment, is quite an issue. But for me, I think PSVR feels like the catalyst that would push me into PS5. But ideally, PSVR and a slim black PS5, not a gigantic white tower.
I like my white one. It's brilliant and looks like... it goes with absolutely nothing, but I love how
you can see how
outrageous it looks. It's like it's just like, what is that? It's most definitely nothing other than
I reckon they held back. I reckon they could have made some sort of luminous element to it so that it just pulses.
To be fair, my PC has luminous pulsing going on constantly, so it's. I just need a PlayStation that doesn't
full
look like
disco.
that. But yeah, obviously the listeners can't see that, but I've just popped the webcam. And yeah, I've got
for the audio,
constant neon pulsing.
For the audio, Will's has shown us basically a disco goldfish bowl. Disco aquarium.
But I haven't turned the rest on. The fans have got LEDs on as well, which can go through some colour cycle. I didn't order it, it's just a case they gave me. But
it's what you get now. It's the thing.
Yeah. But so I've got LED multicoloured lights in my keyboard and in my PC's fans and inside it. They used to be just boxes you played games on. It's baffling.
Well,
but there we go.
They make it go faster.
Cool.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
Faster than ROMs anyway.
Moving on, I suppose. We're still on a Sony tip here, but there was a state of play last month. It was, to be honest, I was a bit underwhelmed with what was there, but there are a few things you could probably call out. One thing I like the look of was this game called Sifu, nice. Which is by the creators of that beat-em-up RPG game Absolver, and it's like a kung fu martial arts third-person game. With a very cool art style. I don't know whether this is like a full AAA sort of game.
I'd say double A, kind of like a Yakuza
kind of thing. But
slightly above, maybe. But yeah, it did look really interesting. It was basically just harnessing that awesome sequence from Daredevil, the idea of combat and everything, obviously fueled by decades of Chinese martial arts films and stuff, and Old Boy, so maybe the Korean influence as well. But it just looked like, let's make a kind of beat 'em up, story driven beat 'em up in some ways, or maybe like a Tekken storyline where you are a person, you want to fulfill a destiny, there are people to smack up. Begin.
Yeah, we're going to pretend this is a story.
Although Tekken's storyline, I using quotes, is actually quite balmy, and by the time Tekken 7 has come around, the Mishima Corporation has basically owned the world, stopped wars by basically going to war with every country on the world and winning. So, I know, but this is what I mean. Stories aren't necessarily that important to gameplay.
Not in a fighting game, no. I mean,
but it depends. I mean, it looks like you're building up your dojo and your reputation, so it could be related because Sifu's master. So, and it looks like that sort of thing where you build up your dojo and a reputation of it, and people come and challenge you from other dojos and stuff like that.
So it's kind of like Dojo Manager 2021.
Yeah, Dojo Fighter, Dojo Fighter 2 Turbo.
Yeah, looks like environmental considerations. Makeshift weapons. Yeah, it looks cool. Skill upgrades and stuff. Yeah, looks pretty decent. The only other thing I like the look of was the Kenna Bridge of Spirits, which
I've got to say I was a bit bored of seeing more Oddworld because I kind of hope the game comes out soon. Because every other every other bit they add on, it feels like I've seen it during the, not E3, was it one of the E3s or something like that? And you just think there's only so much more they can show without just going, fuck it, we'll just tell them the whole story.
Yeah, well, it's going to be on PlayStation Plus. It's a free game, turns out. So we can't really complain about it too much. But it does just seem like, I bet in like whatever studio that is, they're like in the basement and like
literally like an Oddworld character. They go no.
Yeah, and see how they're getting on. Yeah. Got anything for us yet? Oh,
we have the shiny. But yeah, I've got a slight stake in the FF7 upgrade. Yes, which is an upgrade. But it proves my theory, because you get a lot of people complaining, saying, when's the next game coming out on PS4? And I said from the start, the next one will not be on PS4. The next one will definitely be PS5. And this is just showing that. This is basically just saying, look, we're going to put an extra story bit in there. This is the free upgrade. If you've bought it on the PS4, you can upgrade for free. If not, you can buy this and that. And then... Why do
they have to make up words for it?
It's called Final Fantasy, yet the game's gone on for like 15 parts. So I think that's not the issue.
So integrate
it's
in
kind
the
of like
dictionary
trying to look for the dwarf.
It's
like trying to look for the dwarf in Red Dwarf.
Sorry, they're not making up a word.
No,
to pass into another form by a series of intervening forms. So you may have several forms which integrate with each other. So
it's integrating into the PS5 version.
Arguably,
it's a remake and it's a next gen upgrade.
But there also may be elements to this expansion plot that are about it as well. It's probably just something quite clever that covers the whole, right? But it's not a not word. It's a word that we just not very familiar with. Sorry.
Pedantic stuff aside, I'm happy about it. Because
we do not put the pedantic stuff aside. Sorry.
Well, just because you've got a big PC, Will. Come on. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, no, I'm happy about it because it means that the next game that comes out in 2024, 2025 will be bigger. Because it will roughly follow the same story, which means you'll probably go back to Midgar a little bit as well. But they need that extra power. And the PS4 would not be able to do this at all. You'd have to have the PS4 running with cloud server backup. Which would be quite a funny term if they called it cloud server edition.
I was just thinking that,
But yeah, I think that would be the only way to get this running, and no one would stand for that because you'd be there waiting for the game to load for like 20 minutes.
We've got to be looking at like 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. 2024,
the time when the platform like reaches peak sort of.
It will be 2024, 2025 by the time they're done on this. On the next one.
Yeah, wow.
Simply because the game just gets bigger and bigger, and the environments as well. I mean, it goes full open world. In the original game, you could go to whatever, back and forth to whatever place you wanted to. Apart from Midgar, because they kept saying if we went back there, we'd get arrested because of the events of the first disc. In this case, would be the first game. So it's
okay.
I mean, basically, in the original game, you played through the whole city part, and then you had to leave. And then when you left, everyone freaked out because suddenly you were playing in 1997 this completely open world thing, and no one was expecting
I remember that happening.
Yeah.
I started on 8, but I remember this whole. Oh my god!
There's always a bit that does ridiculous. That, and then and that did that first. So people were like, "Holy shit, what?" And you look around, you could see the little tiny thing representing Midgar, and then you went up to this little snake that was crawling around a bog. And it turned out to do this bastard boss called a Midgar Zolom that was always optional, and it was always a fucker to beat. So I'm looking forward to that when I eventually get my PS5. Because I just want to see what they're doing with it. Because for me, it's like kind of like The Mandalorian, where you take something that you already love, and they craft new and cool shit onto it, like bringing. But
you realise if it's in 3 parts, you'll be pushing 50 by the time this is done.
Mate, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care. I've got a dog now. I'm retired. I'm not going outside. Fuck it. Getting a dog.
I did download Final Fantasy VII because it's become available on PlayStation Plus now.
It is pretty much a mediocre story hack and slash. Well, I say mediocre story. I love the story. It's eco-warriors and stuff and corporate espionage. But,
I haven't downloaded it.
Yeah,
I've just
added
unlocked
to library.
it. So that because as I explained on a previous episode, if I just download everything, I forget it's there. Because of the interface on the PlayStation, it doesn't keep scrolling. It's like on a separate screen.
Before we jump off on this, I did watch something quite fun, and it was a streamer who played through the opening part of Final Fantasy FF7 Remake, and she was kind of like going, and she was a bit emotional about it and everything. Turns out she was the voice actress for Aerith, one of the characters.
Right.
So she got to see herself in the game, and she just went, "Oh my god, that's so weird."
I suppose she's allowed to be emotional, but I can't stand emotional streamers.
I've seen you when the beer runs out. What are you on about?
Crush them. No, they used to. I'm pretty sure on Uncharted, they used to get the guy who did the voice of Nathan Drake.
Troy. Troy back? No.
No.
The other one. Not Kevin Conn.
They used to get him. They used to get him to play the game, and so they would like record another track of him going, "Oh,
wicked."
So
Nolan North.
Like authentically. That's it. Yeah, so it would be authentically his voice as you're playing.
He's in everything.
Yes. Yeah. Well, if it's not Nolan North,
he's
it's
done
Troy.
Loads of stuff.
Yeah,
Troy Baker, Nolan North. Yeah.
He plays his brother in one of them.
Or probably both. No. Yeah. Hang on, brother. Oh, that's 4.
Yeah, no, brother of Nathan. Moving on. A bit of bad news that I was really fucked off about is that basically Bloodlines 2, the developer has been fired by the publisher, which effectively means the game is cancelled. They have brought in another studio to finish it off, but I've heard this shit happen before.
When you say finish it off, that's with a bolt gun, isn't it? Like a wounded racehorse.
Put it out of its misery. Yeah, it just reminded me very much of Dead Island 2, which similar thing happened. I don't believe that game's ever come out. So
ironically named.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a shame. I'm kind of gutted about this because I was kind of rooting for it because I did remember the first game very fondly, but it does all seem like a bit of a pipe dream, really. The guy came on, it was a passion project. I think as things progressed and standards had to be raised to accommodate like current gen standards, I think they just needed much more resources, and they weren't able to get the project up to the quality level that was expected. So it's not really surprising, but I was hoping that they might, pony up the extra cash and actually make something of it. But I guess they must have just looked at like the market and gone, is there actually room for this?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think there is, considering there's fuck all coming out.
It could be the developer just wasn't delivering the quality needed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was at the final E3. I nearly said last E3. The final E3 that we experienced a year or two ago. That was, I think they showed it there alongside a bunch of stuff that I think was intended for next gen. I think it might have even been last gen, but it looked way pony compared to the other stuff that they were showing, like other games. So, oh well, rest in peace. Bloodlines 2, if it does surface, I'm trepidatious at best, and I don't know. I think it's DOA.
So looking at it, so it was so the developers. So Paradox was the publisher, and it pulled it from Hardsuit Labs, who I must admit are not one I'm particularly familiar with. But Paradox had said it had signed a new developer to pick up development duties. But it sounds like the wait for the game could be quite a long one, and as you say, might be waiting for Godot here.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath.
I think a lot of companies seem to be kind of pausing things. Well, some are just outright murdering them. But I think because 2021 is so
mad,
despite our best wishes and our best intentions to get everything back on track,
it's like 2020
fucked up so much that the variables are too much. It's like looking at an audio track where the levels are just going everywhere. Because I was gutted by the fact that Gotham Knights was delayed, because I was looking forward to that.
I wanted a new Batman game, or Batman Universe. It didn't have to be Batman,
I wanted a fun multiplayer game, like in the Batman world. I wanted to be one of those CW idiots, but better, because I didn't have to worry about a boring plot and a love interest. I just smacked fools in the head, and that was it.
Although it could have been, the Gotham Knights thing could have just been smashed back when it realised the Avengers game. It could have been trying to go down that whole looter-shooter levelling up, although that might be the Suicide Squad. I will be a bit nervous. It's not like the Warner Brothers studios, after what they did on Shadow of War with loot boxes on a single-player game, can be accused of consumer-friendly development. So I think if they could make their own Destiny, but it's possible that they realised that they were going towards it, and the consumer is starting to realise. So we'll see. Maybe
consumer power is very high at the moment.
And maybe it's because what was going to be released, they actually realised is getting too many releases and flopping like a floppy thing. So we will see.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to Gotham floppiness in 2022. That sounds a bit weird.
I'm still waiting for a release date for Far Cry 6, which was meant to be out by now. It's still not got a release date. It's just sometime between April 2021 and March 2022. Whoop.
Yeah, I must have misread that, and thought, it'll be out by May, but it's like, no,
next year.
There's absolutely no date on that. I mean, we could be looking at maybe they'll just
to be honest.
Well, they'll just do their usual and put it out just before Christmas, which is when they put all their
games out. The way things are going.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, that was it.
I think if there's not going to be an Assassin's Creed this year, then it'll fill that slot. I imagine.
I have watched a couple of things. I always weirdly, even though I don't really play the game, I always watch the Splash Brothers announcements for characters because I just find it fascinating. I've been like, who's going to turn up next? Oh my god, how much did that cost? But interestingly, the last one that they did, I can't remember which character it was. I think it was some from Xeno Saga or something like that, one of the Xeno games on the Wii. But the guy in charge, Sakurai, he was actually doing it from home. Because he says Japan, the Wii character announcement, he wasn't doing it from the office. And he was saying that they've had 6,000 cases a day in Japan again. So there was been another spike. So video game development is probably being affected, which is why they're pushing stuff back. I know, but we were kind of going, it's they must have been working on it and stuff, but you kind of think with all the restrictions and everything still going on and things turning off and on and off and on, accountants get nervous enough and shareholders get nervous enough in companies. So I really can't blame them for pushing stuff back.
I'll be honest, if you look at Cyberpunk, for example, I think Cyberpunk...
I was about to bring that up.
Because that's one of those ones where I think they kind of went, we've put it back and we've put it back and it's not ready, and if we'd all been in the office together, it probably would have been ready.
Yeah.
But we've said we're going to release it, let's do it. We've got a lot of goodwill, and see where that went.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, massively backfired.
I think it's a shame.
I think that will have created a shockwave that they will all be taking notice.
Sony haven't even put it back on the PlayStation Store yet. You still can't buy it from the PlayStation Store. That's how bad it is. That's astonishing.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's out. I know. It's been like nearly 4 months since it was initially released.
Start of December.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to get it out before Christmas, didn't they? So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think the only nailed on one that I can think of is, or maybe two that I can see coming out on the date they say, is Deathloop, which is in May, and Ratchet and Clank
both
the next
of which
month.
were delayed though heavily. Both of which were meant to be launch window games. Deathloop was launch window,
but they seem like they're in their final marketing cycle. Well, especially Deathloop.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank, I'm not sure about, but that won't come out unless that meets pretty high standards. Well, Sony's high standards.
Well, it's Insomniac as well.
It's never going to get.
Well, you've got the Lord of the Rings game as well. It got delayed. There was a Gollum game that wasn't out, so I haven't really been following that. But more importantly, Gran Turismo 7.
Thanks for reminding me about that.
Gran Turismo 7 has been pushed back, and that is a big game for Sony. The Gran Turismo games are big. They are their version of Forza.
They're also very much delayed.
So they're like 2022, and that's basically that is being made by Sony Computer Entertainment Japan now, basically, because it's polyphony.
Yeah. Now here's the thought though. So since we last recorded, the Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda went through. Bethesda own the company putting out this game that's going to be PlayStation exclusive to start with. Wouldn't it be interesting to understand whether or not they're going to put it back for further polish or get it out, because they've got a year to do all the bug fixes and patches before it then comes out free on Xbox?
Yeah.
That might be an idea.
Would they polish any further? Release it, the deal is through, and then release the Mega Ultra patch after a year when the timed exclusivity deal is up.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way. They might just be like shitting it out to.
I don't think they will. I think it's going to be quality, just because it's from Arcane. To be fair, and they are great.
Yeah, why would they want to? Well, they wouldn't want to tarnish the reputation of the studio they just bought.
Anymore, yeah.
No, you're right. Sorry, it's just a little bit of. They might as well. They don't care if it's not very good on the PlayStation, but if it comes out to bad reviews, it's not going to help anyone, is it?
Yeah. No.
No, not really. But no, I totally understand. That is an interesting angle you can put on there. But yeah, I think Resident Evil will definitely come out as well. I was just kind of having a look. A lot of, I mean, there's Returnal and Outriders, but they all seem like
Outriders.
It looks like Game Pass for them.
I thought that was coming out free. Did I read or something Or was that the one was that the game that's getting free with the they're giving away free Stadias? What are they giving away a free Stadia with now?
Oh, it's
Resident Evil.
Oh, okay, that was that tells that was what I did want to touch on. It's when you find out Google are giving away free it's free Stadia controllers, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is the console. But giving that hardware away free to just say, please come and play it on our platform. It is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Outriders is going straight onto Game Pass, but only so far for console and Android, whatever that means. So, nothing about PC Game Pass,
okay.
So don't know about it.
Wow.
But if it goes on there, I'll give it a sniff, just to find out what it's like. It's by the people that did Bulletstorm.
Just noticed something, which probably makes the Warner Brothers Gotham Knights thing make a little bit more, not necessarily more sense. The Rob, you might want to plug your ears in for this. The Batman movie is being pushed back to March 4th, 2022.
Is it still Batfleck, or has they got rid of Batfleck?
It's Patterson, Robert Patterson.
Oh, that was it. Sparkly Batman.
It's basically...
I'll be honest, I've never seen him in anything, so I shouldn't be judgmental.
He's apparently a good actor.
I'm sure he is.
Apparently a really good actor now.
Oh, look, it
feels like it's Batman Year 1. So I'm willing to kind of give it a look. He's just starting out being Batman. He's still angry. He's still more psycho than clever.
I think my trouble is Bruce Wayne was always this old, cool, suave, mature guy, and he's starting to be played by...
always there,
he's starting to be played by actors who are younger than me, Marcus. This is my issue.
You know what that means?
Means I'm old.
You're Alfred. You're Alfred.
Oh, fuck.
Have you noticed, though, that Alfred, in all the iterations, Alfred has become more and more British and more of a cynical Brit. He's either in Gotham, he was Sean... In Gotham, he was Sean Pertwee.
Yes, who did a cracking job, actually. I really liked him.
He was fantastic. He was basically the guy from Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, he was the sergeant in Dog Soldiers, wasn't he?
He was basically
you horrible motherfuckers!
He was
Let's get down here!
Master Bruce,
can I get you a sandwich?
Yeah. If you're going to hit someone, Master Bruce, hit him properly. Now, put your dukes up, or I'll light you up.
I was surprised how much I enjoyed Gotham. Sorry, but a bit of an intergrade approach into the other podcast, but
Anyway, let's get back on track. So Gran Turismo's been
There'll be
delayed.
plenty of Alfred talk.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of Alfred on the other show. The next one.
Where should we go from here? Oh.
Well, that is the question, isn't it?
Well, there is a game that's coming out, as we record, that I think has just come out, that someone has played at least a demo to. But he doesn't really like talking about the franchise.
He doesn't, because he's done a lot of it.
Yeah, I know, we're going to have to really persuade him.
Yeah.
I don't like to talk about all the times I played the franchise.
Let's see. You may have seen me on Monster Hunter World.
Monster Hunter Galaxy!
Monster Hunter!
Monster Hunter Immunity.
Yeah, the game has finally come around to stop you playing Monster Hunter.
You know, to paraphrase Al Pacino, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back.
But this is one you can at least play in the pub, or outside, or whatever, because it's portable again.
I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to play it on my TV.
Screw that, yeah.
They've only stopped showing you the carrot, because they've got another carrot.
They haven't shown me the carrot. They've shown me the field. But do you know what? Actually, all jokes aside, I am bloody impressed with this game. Considering I've gone from playing it on the PS4... We haven't actually named it. Yep. Oh, sorry. This game, Monster Hunter Rise... Rise of the Monsters. I'm actually really impressed because it runs on I think it's the RE engine because it's Capcom, so it's the Resident Evil engine, the new one they've been using since Resident Evil 7, I think. And the scalability is impressive.
Yeah.
Seriously, some of the stuff...
The Switch being powered, right?
The ability for it to be running on a Switch and to do things like multiple large monsters turning up during your hunt. Basically, it feels like you're playing Monster Hunter World, but in a slightly more Japanese setting because it's gone back to the more Monster Hunter style. You're basically in a Japanese samurai-style village, but it's surrounded by these large and weird creatures that do things. But it's also brought back a lot of the ones like the flying dragons, the Rathians that poison you and everything, and they've got their same moveset, and they kind of act a bit similar as well. The ability, look, I've seen, like, I've been playing the game, and you go and hunt something, and I've just gone, fuck, this thing's in my way. I can also hunt this. I was not expecting it to feel like Monster Hunter World, but with slightly reduced graphics. And I don't mean that in a derogative way. I mean, obviously, it's not going to look the same as a PS4 Pro and a PS4. But
until it's on the Switch Pro, rumoured for next year.
I haven't played it on the actual handheld. I've played it on the screen, on my TV. And for me to be impressed by that...
Oh, I'm docked.
Yeah, docked.
What, you played it docked?
For me to be impressed in that way, to say they've actually done a really good job. They've taken all of the quality of life stuff that they learned from Monster Hunter World, which I think I mentioned was Capcom's probably most successful game ever. It's made them a shitload of money. And they've gone...
So they keep on feeding that beast.
I think it deserves it. I think they need a fucking medal for what they've done. Because I played this on the PS2 back in the day, and I've gone on about this, waxed lyrical about this until the cows came home. But to pull me into the game to the extent I did, I'm impressed. Yeah. I'm really impressed. And they've changed it up as well.
Yeah, I mean, so is there a campaign to this, or are you just kind of doing quests?
The campaign is kind of like you get I say story in inverted commas. The story is usually they're in a place, they've gone to a village, they set it up, and they're going out and exploring it, and something's usually causing the monsters in the area to be upset or strange, and you go out and you investigate why. So it's a tenuous story that pulls you into quests, but it's not just... It is go to your quest board and stuff, but the game's done in a way where you will sometimes get led from one monster straight into the other. Sorry, whiskey.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the story mode, it will sometimes pull you in. So you'll go back to the village and you'll talk to like the elders or whatever, and then they'll say, "Oh my god, the thing's out there. Okay, go sort it out." And then you go to the quest board. I'm only going by Monster Hunter World. And then you basically start the quest, and then the story continues, and you get a little cutscene and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
There is a story element, but I find if it's the same as World, the story element is only about a third of the game. And it kind of finishes. The end game stuff is kind of like way after. You'll kill the main boss or whatever of the game, and then there'll be more monsters. Basically, all of the stuff they were giving away for free, saying there's a new monster every week or whatever, that was all post-story.
Yeah.
It was just extra stuff that was coming up, and you'll get like a little bit of extra story or something, or a little cutscene to introduce it, and it will just be like, not New Game Plus, but like story mode epilogue or something.
Yeah.
Isn't the multiplayer going to be a bit compromised on this because it's Switch?
Mate, the multiplayer has been increased. You've got 4 players, but you can also bring your Palamute, which is they've introduced a dog that you can, because in Monster Hunter World you could ride creatures. You could call a creature,
like a companion.
Kind of, but in World it was just an indigenous creature, like a 4-legged whatever would rock up, and you jump on its back and you go and follow the creature that's trying to escape because you're kicking its ass. And it's quicker than running after it, which you did in a lot of other games. And they've kept that element. But as well as a palico, which is like a cat person, not a cat person, literally a cat, that can heal you or attack or whatever, you give it a class and it will help you in battle doing certain things. So it will either come along and heal you, or it will be attacking the creature to get you extra loot from it. Or it will set up status sort of things, like put explosives on the ground and traps and stuff like that. So that was the palico thing. And I've realised I've never actually gone into the detail of this in my waffle about the previous game.
Oh no! Please do elaborate.
But that's just the flavour. But when you went into the game in Monster Hunter World, the way it worked was if you're on your own, you had your palico. If there were 2 of you, you both had your palicos. If there were 3 of you, the leader of the person who started the quest had theirs, and the other 2 didn't. And if there's 4 player, none of you have got them. So you're just on your Todd. And you've got to deal with healing and sorting people out and stuff like that, or yourselves. In this game, you can go into battle with, they've introduced a Palamute, which is the ride creature, but then also attacks. It's not really there to heal you, and it's like a wolf dog sort of thing. You can all go into battle with one of those. You can either go into battle 4 player with a Palico or a Palamute. So they've actually increased the amount of work this game is doing, which makes no sense to me. It's on an underpowered system, and they've upped it. I don't understand how that works. They've also introduced something called the wire bug system, which is basically they've enhanced the game engine so that you now can dash. You can sort of like use a bug to almost Spider-Man zipline into it, and you've got 2 of them at the bottom of the screen, and they kind of regenerate and come back, so you can't do it infinite number of times and basically break the game. But you can use it to sort of tech roll, so if you take
got a cooldown, basically.
Yeah, they've got cooldowns. You've also got, what they call like a tech roll system, which is like from beat-em-ups, where when you hit the ground, you press a button and you'll basically not take damage from the throw or something, and you bounce up.
Yeah,
but you can do that with it. So rather than getting knocked down and then you're right in front of the monster, you can use one of your wire bugs to sort of tech out, and it will drag you out a certain distance from it. You've also, and this is fucking mental, you've also got the ability to jump on a creature and use it like a fucking Power Ranger to attack another.
Yeah, when you say use it like a Power Ranger,
sorry, kind of I've jumped on the back of there's a dragon creature called a Rathian, which is a female one, and it's got like poison elements and stuff. You could jump on the back of it. I can't remember how you do it. You do a certain number of attacks, and you've got a ride option, and then you're on its back, and you've got essentially like the wires all strung up, and it's like harnessed a bit.
Right.
And then you can ride that creature over to the one you're hunting and start attacking it. And it does certain movesets for that creature on it. So whereas you would normally take 30 damage, or maybe if you're a greatsword, 100 and something with a true charge slash, this thing can do like hundreds of it with attacks. And you can do it a certain number of time, and you've got like a certain time limit before it kind of breaks through. So you can actually use monsters to attack other monsters. Or if you're on the back of the monster you're hunting, you can run it into a wall and it will smack out, you'll fall over, and it makes it easier to attack.
You got to hunt monsters then?
Yeah, I thought it was a car game, so I was very confused. Especially when...
You thought you played a really
Clarkson
big hunter.
Up. Exactly. It was a big hunt. Clarkson turned up. Biggest hunt of them all.
The problem I have with...
So I'm baffled because I don't understand how this game works. The logic doesn't make sense. I'm having a TARDIS.
I don't understand half the stuff you're saying, if that helps.
Well, this is basically a game which, in theory, should be inferior to the game I'm playing, but seems to be an even more rewarding experience.
Well, they've had a chance to see what worked and what doesn't, and they've built another one, right?
Well, the only thing that bugs me is that I thought that you lost the lock on camera because I couldn't lock onto the creature, and I was like, okay, maybe that's the compromise. Turns out there's an option setting. I should have done that because I'd forgotten about that in the version I was playing.
So, from what I found really quite interesting was reading some of the reviews gave quite a potted history of Monster Hunter World, and what I found really quite fascinating was that Monster Hunter, was huge in Japan because it was very much a social handheld game. You would get people with their handheld consoles with Monster Hunter on it, and they would go and play together socially, sort of outside or wherever.
I can completely see how that worked. Yeah.
And
you do get sucked into it properly.
Yeah. So the PlayStation Portable, Monster Hunter was one of the biggest games on that, and it never came out for the Vita because Nintendo had actually bought the exclusive rights to that one. But then the last handheld died, the Vita. Nintendo didn't push out another one. They went for the Wii U of all madness with its tablet screen. Yeah. And so Sony actually managed, the Monster Hunter World went multi-platform with online multiplayer, but what you finally got is one that will be big in Japan again because it's on a Japanese handheld console, but can also be played online on a big telly around the world. I think this feels like a winning thing.
That's the thought behind it because Sony's Japanese console market doesn't exist anymore, really. It's pretty much dead. It's all handheld and mobile. Yeah. I was saying about Polyphony, the guys who did Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
They also do the Astrobot one.
Oh,
that is essentially Sony Computer Entertainment Japan.
Yeah.
The rest of it's gone. They've retained just a few people that do those games, and that is it. The PlayStation 4 figures, the only reason it's a success, foreign. Consoles are basically foreign markets now. 70%.
What, so they just play on handheld?
Yeah, it's fucking mental. I don't understand. I didn't understand so much. I reserved 2 copies because I thought, if it's bad, I'll sell it. If it's good, I don't want to lose out.
Have you got 2 Switches?
2 copies?
Not yet.
Oh, okay, but you'll be getting a second Switch.
What, are you worried it's going to sell out?
Well, I was worried.
You got excited, didn't you, Marcus?
I got 2. Actually, you need 2.
So you ordered the first one out.
No, you need 2 copies. No, wait, here we go. You need 2 copies of the game. It's not a split screen game. So I ordered 2 copies. I thought I'm going to get 2 copies of the game. However, I had no idea whether the Switch Pro was going to come out before or with this game.
Nope.
Because I thought if anything's going to bring a Switch Pro out, it's going to be this game. With all of the way that they were gambling with it. But they're waiting, so I reckon it's going to be Breath of the Wild 2 that's going to make the Switch Pro come out. And it's going to be possibly end of the year.
Or it's going to be held back before the Switch Pro. But yes,
no, it's not. That's not coming out this year.
No, but that's what I mean. That's Switch Pro.
They reckon this is like the best game for Switch since Breath of the Wild come out. But the thing for me is, I have no use for a handheld system at the moment.
Yeah.
Or ever, probably.
That doesn't mean it won't come out this year, Rob. It means you're so not interested.
But I'll just say this, though.
Well, that's it. But it's why I'm annoyed that I didn't get the proper Switch.
The light,
because then I might
play it in your living room. Yep. Well, get the Pro when it comes out, mate.
If that does it, then I may well do. Yeah,
of course it will.
Why not?
Yeah. Why don't you sell Marcus your handheld Switch nice and cheap?
Nah, because I'm playing it on my living room as well.
Telly.
I've got a second monitor, mate. It's basically like the PlayStation era part 2.
Oh, you just plug it into the spare telly, yeah.
It's the next game. Me and Sue's always looking for the next game. We're going to be busy for the foreseeable sort of training and stuff, the little one. But, Waffle, not a child. We're not having children. But
can't blame you, mate. Honestly, as a father of 2, I cannot blame you. Yeah.
But I think we're always looking for the next kind of games and stuff, and there's been a few I've earmarked as well. The other one being Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, only because I played the original on the Dreamcast way back in the day and loved it. It was my game.
You just love your Japanese games, don't you?
Mate, they were awesome. It was the first game to make me play until the sun came up in the morning. I've never had a gaming experience. Once you've had a gaming experience that impacts your life and pulls you into video games that much, I can't fault it. I really can't.
I remember playing Soul Blade till the sun came up, but I think it was probably Elder Scrolls for me.
Yeah,
it was the first one where I just went.
World of Warcraft,
and the thing is, that's what makes us all different, because that's what kind of binds us towards certain styles of games. And you notice in the games that we play as well, we kind of have that core, and it kind of, it's something.
Yeah, I like it. It basically widens the games we can talk about. All I can do is sort of poke at what you're saying. Yeah. I don't really have any
context
kind of
for it,
collaborative sort of engagement.
I would say,
but it's just in a different corner of gaming that I'm so swamped with what I am into that is like I don't know. It's just like an extravagance for me to even entertain.
I know. I would say one thing. I would say one thing though. It's really weird because I mean, Will gave Once Upon a World a go, and it wasn't to his cup of tea. No. And it wasn't to my cup of tea.
I played the original.
It wasn't to my cup of tea either. When I first started it, I went, "Why are all the weapons so slow?" Everything you said, it felt sluggish. The Great Sword was awful. I still struggle with it now because it's like, you know,
I think the trouble is
10 seconds to hit a creature.
Me about any of it.
No.
There was nothing that made me kind of go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll stick with this for a bit."
But then,
at least that's
all right. I put a few hours in, and I kind of got used to it. So it's more about and I think the review, you said it's more like a Dark Souls style attacking game where you choose you not in that gameplay way, but it's more the attack. You can't just spam an attack running out hacking. You're choosing your time to attack because the creature's attacking you,
all of that
and
stuff,
you're rolling round. This time to attack, get the hits in, rolling around, get the hits in, because you get knocked on your ass constantly. And then it started to make a bit of sense to me, and I think because it also had that kind of choosing your moment and spacing and everything else, which I was kind of used to from the beat 'em up games.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about character spacing to your target and everything else and stuff like that, and all chaining stuff together and then getting out, doing as much damage as you can, getting out and stuff, interrupting, all that sort of little bits and pieces. Yeah. I haven't even played half of the classes yet, the weapon classes. I could, in theory, start Monster Hunter World again.
Please don't.
I've gone for 2 years. In theory. But
your copy of Rise arrives shortly, right?
It should arrive.
But we'll be here before that podcast. Before
it's due the 26th, so it might even arrive tomorrow.
Yeah.
Both of them will arrive tomorrow. But I want to know what happens with the Pro. I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah,
and that's
it's all
the reason
rumours.
why I haven't
Nintendo
bought the
haven't
second
confirmed
one.
anything yet.
Exactly.
And until they confirm, there's no chance.
All right, well, we'll pick this up again when you've played the full game, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm up for that. Speaking of games you'll never
Jesus
play
Christ,
again.
we talked that long just off the
demo. Are you going to keep going?
I know. I'm going to go quickly. Going to go fast like Sonic.
Okay.
Guilty Gear Strive. Another game you guys will never touch with a barge pole. But absolutely fucking love it. I've never had something to rekindle the old days of, you know, the Hurley Brothers beat 'em up wars. It was an open beta. I hadn't pre-ordered it yet at the time because I waited till it was open. I had 3 days of just constantly fighting my brothers, and it was joyous.
God, that reminds me of my youth.
It was,
but there's computer games
same
involved.
It just felt so much fun. I was literally putting lab time into the characters There was a new character in there I'd never seen before because I never played the previous version, and there was a really cool kind of cop character who had like a spirit wolf with him. And I thought, ghost puppy, yay! And she's very much kind of like, a straightforward, minimal movements, very much kind of like Ryu out of Street Fighter. The limited moveset, but you have to kind of judge and use and chain and stuff. So Giovanna, I think that's the character I'm going with. I fucking loved it. I was spending time in the practice thing going, can I chain this together? Can I chain that together? I was not intending to. I just wanted to get to grips with the game engine. Yeah. And then go, okay, I'll give it a go. And then I found that I literally have a blister on my thumb from using the D-pad. And that's not happened in years.
Wow.
I've not had so much fun.
Why this one and not any of the other games?
Gorgeous.
Millions of other beat 'em ups.
Well, I played Street Fighter for a while. I was a massive Tekken fan. I've got Tekken 7. I never got into Dragon Ball Fighters. That's brutal online, apparently.
Dragon Ball Fighters, I remember seeing the trailer.
It's a gorgeous looking game. I own it now, but I'll play it like with people around. It looks amazing. Yeah. But yeah, Street Fighter, I never got into Street Fighter 5 because I wasn't playing it competitively because I wasn't putting the time in. But Tekken up until Tekken 6, Tekken 5, Tekken 5, I was very much into. Yeah. I was still going around a mate's place when I used to work in London, and we used to play Tekken 5, and he used to bring it up whenever he used to visit. And that was awesome. But this game is because I missed the PS3, PS4 version of Xrd, which was the first one to look like really good. Yeah. And I missed that whole wave. And then when they said they were basically taking the engine back, I thought this is my time to jump back in. And I'm relearning everything, but luckily with this engine, and it just fits. It just feels good. I'm getting my arse kicked. There's some horrendous damage. There's a character where he just punches you in the face. He's like the Hulk. He's got like gorilla arms. He's a cross between the guy from. It's like an armored version of like a Hulk mixed with like a knight and a robot. And he's got these really long arms, and he just punches you in the face, and you're looking at your health going, where the fuck did that chunk just disappear to? And that's just like a heavy punch, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And then I fought my brother, one who's just 3 years younger than me, who I had the biggest gaming rivalry with, and it was like we hadn't stopped. Yeah. He hadn't even played the game, and he was just picking it up, going, I remember this character. Oh, they haven't changed him that much. And I'm getting flashbacks and PTSD to getting grabbed out of the air by these moves and going, it's like we haven't played. It's like seeing a mate you haven't seen for 10 years, and you just carry on. It felt good. It felt really good. So this is definitely, I've pre-ordered it already, and I'm getting this fucking game. I'm playing this shit out of it.
Filling up with nostalgia as you speak.
It's more than nostalgia. It's like, this game is bringing me back. I mean, if Devil May Cry wasn't on my Xbox, which I haven't had set up properly, I'd be playing that as well on the PS4, and I've been tempted to just buy it on the PS4 because it's gone cheap now. Yeah. And just start from the beginning and redo it. Because what I was telling you guys,
died
that
and
game,
the disc was in there, and God knows, and you've moved house, and Christ knows what's next.
But that game really, really just something snapped, something clicked in my head. Yeah. Because I was telling you, when I was first playing it, I was awful, and then it was just making sense. And by the time all of it happened and the console went wibbly, I was good at the game. And it was just crazy because I was thinking, I haven't played these kind of games in so long. But it was nice to kind of know, no, it's not that I'm too old to play these games. Yeah. It's just, it has to be the right ones that I feel that need to. And I don't need to play them all. So I'm bloody happy with Guilty Gear Strive. And I'm going to strive to get better.
Oh. Cool. Alright, well, I've been playing some stuff too. Nothing like amazingly new or anything. But yeah, going from Guilty Gear to Gears Tactics. I'm sure I've mentioned that I've played this before. But nice. I only sort of just, I was just playing it on a little bit of curiosity, really. Because I had the Game Pass thing to play that psychic game, whatever that was called. The God, I can't even
That
remember
memorable.
now.
The Medium.
That's the one.
Did you finish
it? I did. Yeah, I did.
Was it worth it?
Not really. If I'm honest. I mean, it was all right, but yeah, I'm glad it ended when it did. But Gears Tactics. Now, this is the game that is like, it's like XCOM style, where you're sort of like, it's turn-based and you're giving orders and it's all isometric and stuff. But it's all done in the Unreal Engine, and it looks absolutely amazing at 4K, 60 frames, no texture popping hardly. Everything's just really smooth. Nice. It's got that kind of physicality to it that the third-person games have, and it's actually a prequel set 12 years before the first game. But curiously, there's no multiplayer to it or anything. It's all just a single-player game. 3 acts. There's 6 chapters in each. Some of the missions are quite small. Some involve, like, there'll be bits where you've got to sort of, because you have a roster and you acquire troops as you go of different classes, and each class has its own skill tree that you can then upgrade each one into different directions. So you can have support that's more of a healer. You can. It's all different ways you can do it, and then some missions might have restrictions in, or sub goals like don't use any grenades and you will unlock some more gear. And all of your gears have all different guns, and each gun has like different things on it that you can upgrade. So there's a lot of customization that you can do in between missions. And the missions are of different sorts. Some might have you holding a capture points, trying to survive as waves and waves of enemies come at you. Some might have you start with only 2, but then you'll rescue other gears along the way that you can also recruit into your ranks. And it's and like there's big boss missions, which there's one. The first one involves you. You've got an enemy who's firing rockets every round, so you have to make sure you move your dudes every single turn, and you've got to kind of keep attacking the rear of the creature, so you have to keep moving your dudes around. So it's quite a lot of thought's gone into it, and sometimes I sit down and I can't really be bothered with any sort of reflexy sort of Twitch games, and I quite like just sort of like looking at something awesome and sort of playing like a board game, but on my own, So it is a bit ludicrous sometimes watching it as people just stand there waiting for their go to shoot you. But if you're familiar with like Dungeons and Dragons or any sort of turn-based RPG, it's pretty cool, and it's very streamlined, I think it's a lovely game, but I'm probably only playing it because it's on Game Pass, because otherwise it's quite expensive.
No, nice, I'm just checking out a little video on it.
There are little fuckers that run at you and explode, so you have to make sure they're gone,
usual stuff.
And there's a move, and of course you can do your bayonet charge thing if you've got enough of a run-up and enough action points, and they're on low enough health. You can just run up to the fuckers and
bayonet chainsaw in it.
And you have to be really careful. Some of the missions I was right up to the wire. I think the first boss I must have tried it so many times, and it checkpoints you. So if you don't finish it that session, sorry, you're gonna have to start again. Which was a bit brutal, but at the same time you don't want to get into a corner with it or anything, where with the auto save. So I think I honestly, because I've only been casually playing it, but I haven't stopped. I keep going back to it, so I thought it was worth mentioning. So there's that. I played a bit of Arkham VR, which is the Batman VR game.
Oh, hang on. So is that on PC now, or have you got hold of a PSVR while not telling us stuff?
Oh, okay. No, it was on a PC. It was only exclusive to Sony for a few months, I think. I think so, yeah. No, I got it ages ago in a Steam sale, but I just hadn't got round to it. But it's very much like a first wave of VR game. as in it's pretty basic. It's very short. It's quite scary. They do make use of what's behind you, and like the Joker comes out. There's a bit where the Joker's in this prison cell, and he's like, "Come here, Bats, come here," and like you're sort of moving closer to him, and it's like, "Oh no, I don't want to do this." And my eyes shut. It's like I don't want to do it. And the Killer Croc's in there, and he's massive and imposing and stuff. It's very much set in like the new Arkham
but
City
apparently it's
type
proper
world,
detective-y,
you've got all the different Robins,
which I quite like. It's the element of Batman that's not just the fighter. It's
There is a couple of scenes like that. Yeah, there's one bit in a morgue where you have to like, you look at the fingerprints on the safe to sort of get in there, and you're sort of piecing together. You're like analysing bodies. You've got two different view modes, so you can pick up these bits that are shards of shrapnel or something. But yeah, there's no like real combat in there or nothing. It's just a few like puzzles to solve. I've gone through the whole thing and it took about an hour. But then after that, you can go in and you can go through it and do Riddler challenges where you find boxes and stuff. So I'm gonna give it a little one more shot just to see some of them. But yeah, there's like sort of, I think it's like 10 areas in the game. So honestly, it's no time at all. But I didn't pay much for it, and there is something amazing at like putting on the bat suit. Like you pick up the cow and you literally grab it and you put it on you, and like you put your hands in these things and the gauntlets go in, and there's just bits where you're looking in the mirror and it's like 1-to-1.
I was going to say, did you find yourself whispering, "I'm Batman"?
I'm just looking at this, and
no, I don't.
The voice of Batman is Kevin Conroy.
In the PlayStation
animated series Batman. Oh wow!
Yeah, no, in all the Arkham games, it's Kevin Conroy as Batman.
Have you not played them?
Asylum City,
into a little bit.
And Knights, he's Conroy.
Yeah, all the Rocksteady games.
He is to me, he's the voice of Batman because of those things.
Yeah,
that's the voice I hear in my head when I'm sleeping and dreaming of being Batman. Yeah. When I'm in my Batman pajamas, in my Batman duvet.
Asylum's still wicked.
See, that's the thing. Anyone could be Batman. You just need a chin.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hide mine under.
And if you don't have a chin, you can just the suit can just go over it.
Marcus, I have chins to spare.
Bat chins.
Oh yes.
Oh man.
I reckon Arkham Asylum. I'm looking at some screenshots here. They might have been touched up a bit.
Asylum. Asylum. There was a remaster for the PS4. They did the Arkham.
I might have to go back and play it.
Asylum.
Should we do that?
9 years old.
Go back and watch this.
No.
Go back and play this. Yeah.
Sorry, that's 12 years
quite
old
a commitment
now,
rather than just watching the film. But Asylum's brilliant. Still holds up. The combat's superb. Marcus, I actually bought it on a PlayStation Store sale, and it's the remaster. It's Asylum and City. It's a shame Origins isn't in there, but yeah, you can literally just. I wanted to call it Oranges. Because I've Eurogamer. No, it's the whole Eurogamer thing. They deliberately call it Oranges, and in my head now it's Oranges, not Origins. But it's the only one I haven't played. And I would love a quick remaster of that to come out. And for some reason, it never did.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Actually, I
think I have it.
Maybe I'll pick it up on PC, actually.
I think I have it, and I never played it.
Dirt cheap. Use a controller. Could have some fun with that. I quite fancy that, because it's a Batman game I've not played.
Well, they're doing an Arkham collection,
yes,
if you do want a physical media version, but I'm pretty certain that you could probably pick them up quite cheap individually.
Dirt cheap on PC, I reckon.
I've got it. I think I got it in a Steam sale or something.
Yeah.
Or,
see, I think I've got it on PC, but my PC just won't run it because it's not a gaming PC.
Yeah.
Not in any sense of the word. It's it's a PC that's happily retired. It's done its duty as a multimedia streaming device. and now it's happily retired.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have one more game. It's not one more game. I just wanted to mention Arkham. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm still playing it, and it's now the Ostara Festival, which I guess is essentially Easter.
And
I've got flowers in my beard and my hair.
You complained about the additional pointless content of the Christmas one, and now you're getting sucked into the Easter festival.
Rob.
Well, yeah, and there's River Raids.
They got me like that in Monster Hunter. You go into the Gathering Hub and they change it for all seasons. And then you go, ooh, fireworks. Ooh, ice. Ooh,
I haven't
Easter.
even built half the... Well, there's a settlement there it's basically a settlement in Valhalla, and I haven't got enough stuff to build the barracks to do the River Raids. I've just done a bit in Elysium, or Asgard, sorry. I just did the bit to get the rope to tie the wolf up with. So that was fun, going up to the mountain there. I'm quite tough now. I'm like I said, I'm still continuing with my my double-handed axe loadout, which I'm quite enjoying. I'm using the bow quite a bit as well, so I've been filling out that part of the skill tree. But yeah, I've only been playing it a little bit because I've been doing other things. But I'm still plugging away. I don't care, if that game takes me all year, and it probably will at the rate I'm going. Because there's not really a lot coming out, is there, Will?
Oh, it's dry as a nun's Rivitas. I don't know where you thought that was going. Sorry, I'm distracting myself. I'm looking on CD keys, and you can buy on PC. You can buy the Arkham collection on CD keys, right? And unfortunately, it doesn't have oranges on it. But you can buy Arkham Asylum Game of the Year Edition, Arkham City Game of the Year Edition, Arkham Knight with the Arkham Knight Season Pass. So basically, all three of the Rocksteady games with DLC for the princely sum of £5.99. That is ridiculous. Except I don't want to play any of those. I want oranges. And that's £2.49. So I'm pulling that trigger. I mean, why wouldn't I?
Nice.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I guess we'll find out how that ended up next time. I don't know really. I think that's kind of it, really, isn't it? Unless everyone wants to. I mean, unless we want to talk generally about how we're going to cope with this drought. Well, not in Marcus's case. Marcus is fine.
Oh, Marcus is all Monster Hunter now.
He's Monster Hunter and
Guilty Gear will be in June. I think it's June. So that's a little way off.
Oh, that is a way out.
Yeah, well, you're fucking sorted. You'll be playing Monster Hunter
when the DLC comes out, you mean?
Yeah.
Speaking
of which, you see the steel case thing that you sent me, the link for that.
Right, yeah.
That's already been added on to my pre-order.
Oh, God.
Didn't have to do anything. And it's at a price drop. So I've got the cool blingy version of it without having to do anything.
Boy.
I'm so happy. It's so ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell you how I'm going to deal
oranges.
with it. I've still got quite a massive... that's it.
My vitamin PC, yes, oranges. Sorry.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I've still got quite a big load of stuff that I've got on my favourites list on Steam. And I'm probably just going to go through that, in no particular hurry. I've got Banner Saga Part 3 I've never played. I've got Doom Eternal, Far Cry 5, The Long Dark, Mass Effect Andromeda, Moss, No Man's Sky, Outer Wilds.
Did you not do Outer Wilds?
No, but I can do it in VR now, apparently.
There you go.
So I'm going to give that a go. Someone's hacked it in there. And I've also got XCOM Chimera Squad. You know what? I think I'm just going to kind of have a few things on rotation, like I have now, just to fulfil different needs. I quite like having something non-twitchy, sort of strategy turn-based on the go.
That's Mountain Blade for me.
I like to have a bit. Yeah, I like to have an RPG on the go, and then something with a bit of ultra violence when I'm in that
I've just
sort of
realised what I'm going through. I'm going through a gaming midlife crisis.
Yeah, not a bad point. I think we all are.
It's quite from an amusing point of view, not a self-deprecating one. I mean, you know, I'm rediscovering my love of beat-em-ups. I'm playing a beat-em-ups franchise that I used to love back in the PlayStation PS2 era. I'm playing a Monster Hunter game that I first played on the PS2 era, where my brother stole an egg and a dragon chased him all the way back to the village and killed him. And we laughed. Ho, 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 we laughed. And yeah, all that's left is me to pick up Gran Turismo again, but I kind of feel as though that ship has sailed. I did 4 games of that really intensely, and I think I'm burned out.
I think, I just feel like immensely let down by Cyberpunk, because I thought like that was going to be my golden goose that was just going to keep me going for like the next decade.
I still can't believe what happened with that. I really can't believe it. I'm not even in a trolly sense or anything. I'm genuinely gutted, because I wanted to sort of jump on that later on.
Yeah.
And just be a part of it as well. But who knows? By the time I think I get around to it, maybe it will do a No Man's Sky and become the game that we all deserve.
Yeah, I was talking to Rob about this offline earlier. It's parked. If I ever hear that it got good again, I mean, I remember the story being good, the graphics being utterly beautiful. It's just, as we were discussing, the gameplay itself is just not very satisfying.
It's roping, yeah. It's almost one step away from just being menu-y and the combat, the drive. I mean, I've seen some of the driving and the vehicles turning. I've seen vehicles turning like that on the PlayStation 2.
Well, there's a new patch you can see that helps the driving. But
I know. But when you see when you see Matey Boy driving into a lamppost on his bike, and it's just like things like that being, he says goodbye.
Well, the bikes don't turn; they're fucking terrible.
It's like after a cutscene. I think it's after you do the whole first bit before you meet Johnny, and it's the guy you're with. I can't remember his name. The Latino guy,
Jackie.
Jackie.
And he goes off on a bike, and you do this whole speech, and he goes, "Hey, hasta luego," or something, and he goes off, and there's a lamppost there, and he just goes straight into it, and then goes round, and you're like, well, that's just fucking ruined it. It's like Leslie Nielsen level of Naked Gun this. And you gotta go,
Police Squad.
I remember driving up to him, and he's in a car, he's on a bike, I'm in a car, he gets off his bike and just walks through my car.
Yeah. It's just like, things like that just killed you,
It wasn't finished. It was probably a quality and highly ambitious game that they had to put out because they'd delayed it too many times.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't have to, but they chose to, or some people chose to, and it's a shame. I'm as you say, I'm waiting to see what the game will be when it's finished.
So the thing is, it's like Deus Ex. Whenever you would upgrade yourself in that game, it had a profound impact on what you could do.
Yeah. In
Cyberpunk, there's all these slots, and you just buy shit, and you just fill them in, and it doesn't seem to make any fucking difference whatsoever.
Yeah.
Or if it does, it's really abrupt, because the things you're doing are so sort of spread out, and it's trying to be two things at once, and it's failing to be either. Basically.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
It wants to be GTA, it wants to be Deus Ex, but it's not as good as either. And
yeah.
And I think that was the expectation because of the way they marketed it.
Yeah, I was expecting basically like Ghost in the Shell meets Akira.
Ooh, yeah.
From the marketing, that's what I was expecting.
Well, thematically,
the way they were selling
it is.
Yeah.
But it's just like, but what do you?
Like,
what do you?
The talky bits from Ghost in the Shell, the talky bits from Akira.
Yeah, but what do you? Yeah, so when you say that though, but what gameplay are you thinking of?
I know, but I don't know. I just got the feeling that you'd have a bit more freedom in the world. I mean, I haven't played much.
There is freedom in the world. There is freedom in the world.
No, that's what I mean.
That's one of the problems
that's
with
what
it.
I mean. Yeah.
The problem is,
I haven't played
the problem
it,
is that you there's this very densely well thought out content, and then there's just loads of fucking shovelware shit just sporadically just placed in random areas that seems to have no effect on anything. It's just weird. I think it's just they just built it up and it was never going to exceed meet expectations. But it's not even gone anywhere near them. It's weird. It's almost like you sort of want. It's at its best when you're playing a very sort of tightly written story bit.
Yeah, and you're going through the beats.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
almost like I don't want the open world. Just make me do it like in episodes.
It should have almost been like a Mass Effect style game where it's pulling you through a story and you're going, oh my god, this is amazing, with little bits of freedom every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even like jump cut me from one area to another and don't let me go any further than this and just let me do the story in this very tightly scripted, very well written and acted sort of interactive first person game. I don't need all that.
That would have been amazing.
That could have been cool.
Well, that's the thing. I think the problem is if some people are still thinking that the term on rails, I think, did a lot of damage for story-driven content because everyone wants to make their game open world because story-driven, they go, oh, it's on rails, you can't really do anything. You think, no, you enjoy the fucking story and play the game.
Yeah. There's a balance in there.
But some games work better because the point is you're there to experience the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the story's written good enough, you don't care if it's on rails because you go, holy shit, that was an amazing sequence. That was just absolute fucking godlike.
Yeah.
And then you're just ranting about that for ages.
It's like Half-Life VR, they're quite big areas in that. But sometimes like you're not hemmed in by your ability to get to a certain or run a certain distance. It's like, oh, there's like an interesting way of getting to that place over there.
The thing is, there's the classic hub and spoke approach as well. So Borderlands, for example, you'll have a central location. You might have maps that join each other, but you'll get individual maps with connecting points, and then you load the next map, etc. I mean, the whole open world thing, the concept that there's on rails or it's got to be an open world, rather than there can just be areas you explore. I think open world is a fucking amazing thing in the right games. I thought in Witcher it was exceptional. I love in the Bethesda Fallout, Elder Scrolls stuff. Absolutely. It has a purpose, but it's too much in some games. Ubisoft, particularly when it comes to the latest Assassin's Creed, it was almost too much. I didn't really enjoy Valhalla, I think, in hindsight, as much as I could have done. It's about balance. But yeah, the idea that it's a Boolean, that it's either open world or it's on rails, can't be the case.
I just think we need smarter development. We need the story. We need what we want the player to experience. I mean, that's the ironic thing.
Not just following
in
friends.
every one of all of these companies now. It's like Sony. They don't call games playing anymore. They call it all experiences. And it's the same with Xbox as well. It is, but if you think about it, that's what they want you to have. They want you to have an experience. So if that's the start
I'm planning
of the game,
to buy my Experience Station 5 soon.
Yeah, well, maybe, who knows. But that's the thing. I kind of think if you actually do that as part of the development cycle, then almost like user experience or UI, you think, well, you want your gamer to go through this. What's the best way for them to do this? And then you hash out your story and everything, and then you build it based on that. Not just, let's build a massive fucking sandpit and then put them in it, and then we'll weave a story through this. But if they go through this gap in the fence, they're fucked. Until they see the old granny that tells them they have to catch 15 apples.
Yeah.
Something random like that, and you kind of go, well, that wasn't really... Because then you get loads of people with various enjoyment experiences from this game. Yeah. And you're like... I don't understand why they would do that, because you can't harness that. Someone will go, yeah, it was quite fun. Yeah. Someone will go, no, it was shit, mate. I just spent ages doing all these side quests. bloatware. But if you ignore all of that and you just do the core version of the story, the core quest, some people go, no, it's quite a tightly wound story. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I think some games, you just give them too much leeway. Don't.
I'll go with that.
Just tighten it up. A little bit of sandboxing, go to a certain amount. You know, you can deviate a couple of paths to do a thing.
And that's enough!
Well, you got the Metroidvania-esque.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's it.
Me.
Oi, sandbox, now!
Know your limits!
But I don't know. I mean, but then I kind of feel, you know, if a game is touting it as a, you know, like GTA, it's a piss about. You do the kind of story things. That is a sandbox, because it's a sandbox of mayhem. The whole point of the game, once you've gone past the story bits, is to just have a laugh and completely goof about, and then try not to get hit by a random car that's speeding by. You know, that's the whole point of the end game, the sort of new game plus, the post game or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Indeed.
And I kind of feel, well, maybe that's the way. Give them a story to start with, then open it up, and they can just do what they want. But it depends on the story.
I think really, my main concern right now is that because of the nature of the way things are, the way that games are like sort of being delayed, and we're getting this sort of piecemeal DLC rollout to keep us all happy. I think this is really giving games as a service so much space to establish itself as the way.
I think they already have.
And they shall have no satisfaction from me. But yeah, I think we might have to get used to the games as we, certainly as Will and I consume them, to be, not the norm. You know.
Yeah.
It's the exception rather than the rule. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm certainly preparing myself for that eventuality. Anyway.
Well, I say that I am 33% downloaded on Oranges.
Woo!
I've also just bought Loop Hero, which I shall report on the next recordings. I've heard good things about it.
I've heard.
It's a Devolver published, mad RPG type RPG manager.
Yeah, it's like an idle
dungeon crawler manager.
It's like an idle game, which they sort of, like auto chess, where you sort of set everything up and then kind of let it go.
You set your parameters for your dungeon crawling, and it crawls, and then it comes back and you do some more.
I don't know if I think I might need to hear your spin on that. Will.
Well, we shall talk about that next recording.
Definitely. Which may,
if I remember.
Yeah, which may be sooner than later, because I'd like to get Marcus's reactions on the full majesty of Monster Hunter Rise.
I don't know. I reckon Suze is going to be playing it because the Switch is hers.
Oh dear.
And it'll be a case of, fuck you, get your own Switch.
I think what Rob's not saying is that from the 12th of April or 16th of April or whatever it is, he will not be spending any time inside his flat, if at all humanly possible, therefore would like to get the recording done before that.
I hadn't actually thought of that, to be honest, because the thing is, I don't intend to spend all of my extra free time not commuting on the piss.
Yeah, you've got to be asleep at points.
Yeah, I am going to have to be asleep, but no, I'm very much looking forward to having all this time and actually being able to do stuff with it that isn't video games. I am sort of a little bit apprehensive that I would like to get a few things finished off.
I just can't believe you've had all of this time and you haven't finished fucking Assassin's Creed.
Do you know what's going to happen? We're going to be sitting there and then we're going to hear like a voice coming from the heavens going, control restrictions have been released. Level 2, Level 1. Rob has been released.
Perimeter deactivated. Perimeter deactivated.
Yeah.
I tell you what's held me up is the fucking board games, because I've got John and Anne and Ash all going, bored, Rob, bored. Can we play some board games? We're bored. And it's just, and it's relentless. It's pretty much every weekend. So, other than
tell them you're busy with your orgies.
Yeah.
Your Valhalla.
I've also nearly completed Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus.
Level up.
iPlayer, ITV Hub, 4OD. I've nearly drunk Apple TV, Sky. I've nearly finished it all. I think I've got a couple more things to watch, and then I'm out of entertainment. So I have to play more video games.
It's funny. I just bought a house that's utterly fucked. And that's all my time is trying to unfuck the house. It's awesome.
Oh man.
Happy days.
I was going to put some levity in there saying, speaking of video gaming, fuck it.
Go, Marcus.
I've bought an AVI to HDMI.
There's some levity for you. Isn't that leadity?
Well, no, it allows me to actually use my retro consoles on my LCD screen.
Going old school.
I've got a shitload of games. I've got so many PS1, PS2, PS3 games. I've not touched in ages. I'm tempted to literally go back and play some games. Not in the immediate future, because there are other games to play.
Well, that's the trouble with that stuff. It's like, will you go? Will you go back?
No, but I used to do this all the time. I used to have my GameCube set up, and I used to just stick on like a couple of games and stuff. But
I think the sensible
since
approach
they've all been put away
is keep the garden for retro. Summer evenings, projector screen onto the side of the house. That's when you go retro.
I'll tell you what, when everything's opened up again, you guys are welcome if you're not too far away.
Yeah. I'm not that far.
We'll have a Street Fighter tournament.
I shall bring my mini portable projector.
Nice.
Awesome sauce. Right, that's me.
Cool,
I think on that bombshell, we'll have to end it.
Let's do it.
That was good. I mean, that's a fair old size recording.
Thanks for listening to the Not Playing Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Watching Podcast, where me and Marcus talk about movies and TV, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam, Ash and Will talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet out or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard there, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, stay safe out there.
To agree 'cause I suck. I suck